Hello.
Hello. What are you doing here?
I heard you were sick, and I was worried.
The autumn leaves drifting through Riverside Park, the glow of a laptop lighting up a quiet New York apartment. Back when romantic movies were true events, when women watched them with their sisters, friends, or co-workers, passing tissues unashamedly in soda-sticky aisles. This was before streaming isolated us, when the shared joy of a cinematic romance felt like coming home. On the set of You've Got Mail, behind all the charm and bookstore sweetness, there was a quiet, necessary tenderness. There were nerves, kindnesses, and women supporting each other in ways that often stay hidden. Meg Ryan was leaning into a softness only she could access, and Tom Hanks brought that steady warmth everyone trusted. If you still cherish this film, if that final scene can still soften something in your chest, it's because you are honoring something true. These are emotional behind-the-scenes facts about You've Got Mail, told the way a friend would share discoveries that validate why softness is, in fact, strength. Fact number 1, safety and space for the lead actress. Before the cameras even started rolling, Meg Ryan confessed to director Nora Ephron that she felt emotionally depleted. She was coming off a long, intense run of back-to-back movies. Nora later noted that she could visually see the tension in Meg's shoulders, a weight that Kathleen Kelly didn't carry, but Meg did. Nora's response was not a studio announcement or fuss. Instead, she adjusted the early schedule. The first days of shooting involved gentler scenes, interior shots with lighter dialogue, to allow Meg to quietly ease back into herself. It was a director using her power to create safety and space for a woman to find her breath again. Meg later recalled, "Nora made space for me to find my breath again," and that tenderness became part of Kathleen's enduring appeal. Fact number 2, the generous gentleness of Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks spoke in commentary about the deep trust he shared with Meg Ryan, a bond that had been real since Sleepless in Seattle and was not manufactured for publicity. On this set, their established friendship allowed him a unique emotional openness on camera. Nora Ephron once observed that Tom makes the air gentle. Tom instinctively knew when to step aside during Meg's most emotional takes, giving her the physical and emotional room she needed. Nora thanked him privately for this quiet, protective kindness. That gentleness is why Joe Fox never feels like a genuine threat, but rather a flawed man capable of learning how to love deeply. This is the kind of supportive male dynamic women wish existed more often in the real world. Fact number 3, Jean Stapleton's quiet anchoring of the younger women. Jean Stapleton, who played Birdie, became an unexpected source of steady comfort for the younger women in the cast. Heather Burns, who played Christina, remembered Jean as being like the soft-spoken, observant older women she grew up with, a steady presence. During breaks, Jean would sit with the actresses, quietly sharing memories of her time on Broadway. She offered gentle, grounding advice like, "Don't rush yourself. You belong here." Heather later called her the heart of the set, and Meg Ryan confirmed the feeling, saying, "Jean made us all feel rooted." This deep sense of belonging provided by an elder woman, a female anchor, is the kind of solidarity that this audience treasures and often misses. Fact number 4, Meg Ryan's quiet act of female mentorship. Heather Burns admitted in multiple interviews that she was terrified during her first week of filming, worrying she would be the weak link among actors she admired. Meg Ryan noticed her young co-star's anxiety immediately. Instead of rehearsing alone or with the more veteran cast members, Meg quietly began pairing herself with Heather for blocking. She would gently ask, "Want to run this together?" It was a small, unshowy act of using her power to lift another woman, which helped Heather settle her breath and find her confidence. Years later, Heather beautifully articulated the feeling. Meg made the set feel like a soft place to land, proving that female solidarity is often found in the quietest gestures. Fact number 5, filming in real New York apartments for emotional honesty. Nora Ephron insisted on filming in real New York apartments instead of sterile sound stages. Her reasoning was profound and emotionally resonant. She believed that women's emotions live in real spaces. She wanted the imperfections of life, the messy countertops, the drafty windows, the steam heat, all of it. Meg Ryan later described these lived-in details as essential for tapping into Kathleen's inner world. "It felt like being in someone's home instead of pretending to be in one," she said, recognizing that kind of honesty changes how you act. This choice validated the idea that a woman's emotional life is tied to the real, sometimes messy spaces she inhabits. Fact number 6, Meg channeling her own real-life loss. When Kathleen closes the shop around the corner, Meg Ryan was doing far more than acting. She was channeling genuine grief. In interviews, she described the scene as heavier than expected because it forced her to confront the reality of letting go of parts of her own life that had once defined her: routines, friendships, and roles. Nora Ephron, keenly observant, left the camera rolling long after the planned moment. The unscripted swallow and the trembling breath Meg releases are captured on film, and they belong to Meg, not Kathleen. Nora kept the moment because, in her own words, she felt that every woman has had that moment, proving that raw, honest feeling always makes it into the heart of a story. Fact number 7, Tom Hanks, writing Joe's emails for male emotional authenticity. Nora Ephron believed that emotional expression often differs by gender. To ensure the emails from Joe Fox felt authentically male, she encouraged Tom Hanks to write several of the email lines himself. Tom's goal wasn't to sound poetic, but deeply honest. He shared that he wanted Joe's messages to sound like a man saying something he means, even if he's scared to. The result is that the digital exchanges feel tender without becoming theatrical. This grounded, slightly clumsy, and yet hopeful tenderness was recognizable to many women watching, resonating as the kind of emotional reaching that men who struggle to say things out loud often attempt. Fact number 8, Nora Ephron's permission to be imperfect. The Thanksgiving grocery store scene, where Kathleen is flustered and overwhelmed, initially caused Meg Ryan anxiety. She worried that her flustered chaos was too much, that she was overdoing the emotional unraveling. Nora Ephron stopped the entire production, pulled Meg aside, and gave her a powerful piece of emotional permission. She said, "Women don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love. They're allowed to fall apart in fluorescent lighting." This note was a moment of profound validation for Meg, one that she later said stayed with her far beyond the film, and gave countless women watching permission to be seen and loved, even when they aren't perfectly composed. Fact number 9, Parker Posey, finding the humanity in Patricia Parker Posey, who played Joe Fox's sharp and often impatient girlfriend Patricia, struggled to find the emotional grounding for her character. She wanted to avoid Patricia becoming a simple villain or a joke. Meg Ryan offered a piece of generous advice that helped Parker reframe the character completely. She told Parker, "Every woman thinks she's doing her best." This small act of female empathy allowed Parker to see Patricia as not a monster, but simply a human, flawed woman who was incompatible with Joe. It's a powerful lesson in female characters, that even the sharp ones deserve to be understood as being human in their own flawed way. Fact number 10, Meg Ryan, creating a warm house for the children. The younger actors in the cast quickly grew attached to Meg Ryan. Between takes, she made the set feel less like a workplace and more like a warm house by reading to them. She would grab whatever book was nearest, sometimes a picture book, sometimes Nora Ephron's essays, and sometimes random pages from the shop around the corner props. One child later said she made filming feel like visiting someone's warm house. That natural comfort and warmth Meg generated off camera subtly shaped the genuine softness and ease captured on screen during Kathleen's scenes with the children. Fact, Shirk 11, Nora Ephron protecting vulnerability like it was gold. Tom Hanks has often praised Nora Ephron, saying she created one of the safest film sets he had ever experienced. He stated that she protected vulnerability like it was gold. For scenes where Meg needed deep emotional access, moments involving quiet disappointment or loss, Nora would specifically ask the crew to move slower, dim the noise, and create a genuine stillness. This protective atmosphere was essential for the actors. As Meg noted, "You can only be open if you're not bracing yourself." This dedication to emotional safety allowed for the genuine, open performances that give the film its enduring heart. Fact 12. Filming the private emotional life of women. The scenes of Kathleen alone at her computer, engaged in her secret life as shop girl, were deeply meaningful to Nora Ephron. She stated that they represented the private emotional life of women, the moments no one sees. To capture this intimacy, she filmed those moments with a minimal crew, using soft lighting and deliberately long pauses. Meg Ryan later admitted that these were the moments where she felt closest to myself, because the quiet, focused stillness on set perfectly matched the emotional solitude demanded by the script. These quiet moments validated the deep, rich emotional lives women lead when they are entirely alone. Fact number 13. Tom Hanks, offering kindness without trying to fix. There was a period during filming when Meg Ryan was carrying a private emotional burden that she never publicly disclosed. Tom Hanks sensed this deep, hidden weight, but respected her privacy and never pried. During the Riverside Park scenes, he would walk with her slowly from mark to mark, sometimes in comforting silence, sometimes offering a gentle joke. Meg later reflected on his approach, saying, "Tom didn't try to fix anything, he just stayed close. That's a very rare kind of kindness. This protective, non-intrusive support from a male co-star is the kind of quiet respect and care that enables vulnerability and helps a woman feel truly seen." Fact 14. Dave Chappelle's feeling of welcome. Dave Chappelle, who played Joe Fox's friend and colleague Kevin, was relatively new to big-budget film sets. He spoke in interviews about how welcomed and supported he felt on set. Tom Hanks made a concerted effort to check in on him, patiently explaining complex camera setups and genuinely laughing at Chappelle's improvisations. Chappelle said, "Tom treated me like I'd been there forever." This reassurance and validation from a major star helped him relax completely into his scenes, which is clearly felt in the natural warmth and easy humor he brings to the character of Kevin. Fact number 15. Nora Ephron's personal search for unlived chapters. The film's deeply emotional tone and its message of hope were closely tied to Nora Ephron's own life transitions at the time. She wrote and directed You've Got Mail while navigating midlife changes, including shifting friendships and evolving ideas about what love truly means. She once confessed that the heart of the film was about believing there are chapters you haven't lived yet. This vulnerable and hopeful message resonated deeply, and Meg Ryan publicly thanked her director for giving women a romantic story that grows with you, validating the idea that a woman's romantic journey does not end at a certain age. Fact number 16. The small, hopeful gestures that made the final cut. During the editing process, Nora Ephron became deeply emotional while watching the scene where Kathleen is alone, waiting hopefully for Joe's message in her quiet apartment. She made the conscious choice to keep Meg's absolute smallest gestures, the almost imperceptible lip tremble, the hopeful inhale. Nora kept these because she believed that every woman knows that breath. Meg later shared that she hadn't realized how much raw emotion she was showing until she saw the final cut. But Nora reassured her, that's why it works. It is a powerful reminder that women's smallest moments of hopeful vulnerability are the most universal. Fact number 17. The legacy of making hope. Years later, Meg Ryan reflected that You've Got Mail remains one of the gentlest and most emotionally protective experiences of her entire career. It wasn't gentle because it was easy, but because everyone involved, Tom, Nora, Jean Stapleton, and the younger actresses, all deliberately created a space where a woman's softness was not something to be hidden or apologized for. Meg concluded that the entire process felt like being taken care of. She noted, You can only make a movie about hope if people give you hope while you make it. This film remains a testament to what is possible when people choose tenderness over pressure and protection over performance. They made You've Got Mail at the end of a decade when romance films still fiercely believed in softness, when women saw themselves in stories that refused to apologize for hope. Behind the golden New York afternoons were real people navigating their own uncertainties. Meg finding her emotional breath again, Tom quietly offering steady protection, Jean Stapleton passing down the wisdom of older women, and Nora Ephron shaping a world where tenderness was a kind of quiet courage. What they created was more than just a romantic comedy. It was a perfect reminder of what connection feels like when it's slow, when it's safe, and when it meets you exactly where you are. That's why the film still lands the way it does after all these years. That's why Kathleen's small, hopeful breath just before Joe appears still feels entirely like your own. If this movie still makes you tear up, you're not being sentimental. You are simply honoring something honest, something they felt while they made it, something you felt the first time you watched it, and something that still profoundly matters. And you are not alone in that.